Dear viewers, brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to another episode of AHKAM SOS in this exclusive season, live from the holy land of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein and his beloved brother Abil Fadl Abbas alayhum as-salam. And as you all know, dear viewers, this show is dedicated to be discussing Islamic laws, do's and don'ts, and to be answering all of your questions, inshallah, regardless of any marja' you follow. And as you all know, dear viewers, the original routine, you can send your questions via WhatsApp or the YouTube comments, or you can give us a call via the number presented to you at the bottom of the screen, also via WhatsApp, or you can scan the barcode presented to you alongside with the numbers, and inshallah our WhatsApp page will pop up so you can send in your questions, or you can also give us a call and we'll be at your service, inshallah. But before we get into that, I'm your host Musa Ali, and I would like to introduce our honorable guest, Sheikh Ali Maash. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Wa alaikum assalam.
How are you doing tonight?
Alhamdulillah, fine.
Inshallah. Well, how was a beautiful night here in Karbala?
Oh, great.
I hope you didn't forget our dear viewers
inshallah,
here at the shrine.
And the Sahar time, inshallah.
May Allah bless you. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. I believe you have a dua we can start off the show with. And inshallah, we'll get back to the questions.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
اللهم صل
ولعنة الله على أعدائنا أجمعين. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى أخيك أبي الفضل عباس ورحمة الله وبركاته. There's a line of the dua in the famous Abi Hamza al-Thimali's dua by Imam Sajjad alayhi salam.
No.
He says in this part of the dua, he praised Allah Azza wa Jal. Alhamdulillah alladhi ad'uhu fayujibuni. I praise to Allah that when I call him, he would answer me. You know, fair means straight away.
Allah.
Sometimes one gets his haja straight away. وَإِن كُنْتُ بَطِيئًا حِينَ يَدْعُونِ.
Allah.
But when it comes to me, when he calls me, you know, when the mu'adhin says قَدْ قَامَتِ الصَّلَاةِ or حَيَّ عَلَى الصَّلَاةِ, I'm still watching, you know, the football or a movie.
Yeah.
And I've seen some brothers, they pray 10 minutes before the sunset.
Allah Akbar.
Sadly, 5-10 minutes, sometimes even it's past sunset.
Yeah.
So, yes, I would be slow when Allah calls me, but when I ask Allah, He would straight answer me.
Yeah.
وَالْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ الَّذِي أَسْأَلُهُ فَيُعْطِينِي. When I ask Allah Azza wa Jal for my haja, you know, could be money, could be health, anything, Allah would give me that haja and respond to me. وَإِن كُنْتُ بَخِيلًا حِينَ يَسْتَقْرِضُنِي. But when it comes to me, Allah says, pay charity, pay zakat, pay khumus.
Yeah.
I would be stingy in some cases.
Correct.
Try to find a loophole not to pay
Yeah.
that, you know, full amount of khumus or zakah or even sadaqah in some cases. Try to pay the pennies, you know, just spare pennies.
Correct.
Try to get rid of them. So you can see how Allah Azza wa Jal tries to be closer to His abd, to His servant, but you know, sometimes the abd tries to run away from you know, implementing Allah's orders and you know, the authority of Allah Azza wa Jal. So we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to be able to respond to Allah's calls and duties and you know, takalif al-shar'iyya, inshallah, in this holy month at least.
Inshallah. Ameen. May Allah bless you. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. Before we get back into the questions, I would like to apologize in advance to our dear brothers and sisters that we didn't get to answer all of the questions from the previous night due to the lack of time. But inshallah, we will get to all of the questions. And I would like to remind you once again that you can send in your questions via WhatsApp or the YouTube comments, or you can give us a call via WhatsApp via the number presented to you at the bottom of the screen, or you can also scan the barcode presented to you alongside with the number, and inshallah our WhatsApp page will pop up so you can send in your questions, or you can also give us a call via WhatsApp. May Allah bless you all. Sheikhna, we have a few questions from the previous night, and it says, the first one is from WhatsApp, and it says, is alcohol vinegar halal?
As mentioned before, the alcohol or the wine vinegar is halal because it's been transformed from intoxicating substance into non-intoxicating substance, with completely different subject and different material, or let's say item. Now we have, it's a completely different taste. Even the the sukkar issue is also has been removed. You know, muskir issue is removed from this substance, and this is one of the mutahhirat as mentioned in the kutub al-fiqh, that transformation or inqilab al-khamr khal, that will make this transformation from alcohol to vinegar, purifies that liquid substance which was intoxicating and drunkenness and so forth.
May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. We have, excuse me, we have another question is via WhatsApp. It says, Assalamu alaikum. I have a question regarding traveling in Ramadan. I have to travel for a meeting or visiting site outside the city I live in. Please advise if I can fast while traveling for a site visit only. And thank you very much.
Yeah, if the journey is over 22 kilometers outside the city, so let's say 25 kilometers, 30 kilometers journey from the border of your city all the way towards that city, and it's just a one-off trip. Just one-off trip. Of course, you have to open your fast, break your fast, and pray short as well, because you're not a frequent traveler to this place. It's just a one-off visit. You can't fast and complete your salah as well. So you have to basically open your fast and pray for short as well.
Inshallah. May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. We have another question. It is via WhatsApp, and it says, can I eat before my operation?
The problem is there's no excuse for breaking your fast unless there's a need for it. You know, there's advice from the doctors. You really need that food. Otherwise, you have to keep fasting until after the operation, of course. Now you need nutritions, I don't know, food, drink, some kind of, you know, specific, let's say, medication you have to take during the day. After the operation, things will change, of course. But before that, you're okay. There's no need for consuming drink or food. So you have to keep, you know, fasting.
Inshallah. May Allah bless Sheikhna. We have another question. It is from WhatsApp, and it says, I'm sorry, this one's from YouTube, and it says, what's the best dua for breaking fast?
It's mentioned again in the كتب الأدعية, like مفاتيح الجنان, like اللهم لك صمت وعلى رزقك أفطرت وعليك توكلت, for example, or اللهم لك صمنا وعلى رزقك أفطرنا وعليك توكلنا. يا واسع المغفرة اغفر لي is all mentioned. If you go back to مفاتيح الجنان, أعمال over the iftar time, and there is a great dua. It's just a half page. You know, if you can recite it every day just before iftar, a few minutes. The dua is called Allahumma Rabb al-Nur al-Azim. Just before the iftar, half a page. Try to find this dua. A great dua. You can read about this dua before you recite this dua, just before the adhan time. It's got a great thawab.
May Allah bless you. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have another question. It is via WhatsApp, and it says, Assalamu alaikum. Can I wear jewelry that has Allah's name or the Imam's name in the bathroom?
What is important that if it's let's say written on the, let's say on the ring or necklace, you don't touch it without wudu. You have to have wudu so you can touch these, let's say, necklace or rings. So you have to make sure you're in a state of purity. And number two, no najasa would reach to these you know, jewelry. It's important as well. So make sure you don't drop it inside the najasa.
Correct. May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. Sheikh, we have another question. It says, is it permissible for a woman to perform salah without wearing socks, for example, for the surface of the sole of her feet to be uncovered?
Yes, she can do so, you know, if you're at home. But the issue is, if she is in a public place like a mosque, where there are men, women, or let's say the shrines of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, there's the onlooker of non-mahram men other side, she needs to cover it because of that issue of hijab. So yeah, I mean, by herself at home, for example, she can do so without socks, you know, pray without socks, but outside, because of the hijab issue that she has to cover her feet with the socks.
May Allah bless Sheikh. Thank you very much. We have another question. It is via YouTube, and it says, can we sell pork meat to non-Muslims?
selling pork and alcohol is absolutely not permissible.
Yeah.
I can say by majority of the ulama, you cannot sell pork and alcohol. These are like exceptions. Beef and chicken, of course, for those who are not Muslims, they consider as permissible for them. One can do so and sell to them. But other than that, for these two items, you know, pork and alcohol, you cannot sell to anyone, even non-Muslims.
Yeah. May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. We have another question, and it says, what is the ruling for one who performs salah with clothing that has a strand of cat hair on it, and he does not realize this until after the salah or during it?
If they don't realize this after the salah, until they finish the salah, it should be fine. They can, you know, the salah is valid. They didn't see it before, and then they saw it after the salah, it should be fine. But if they see it while they are praying, recognize that there's strands of hairs, they have to remove it and then carry on with the salah to the end. And the salah is valid, inshallah.
Inshallah. May Allah bless you, and thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have another question. It says, if the remaining prescribed time is too short, is it mandatory for one to enlighten his salah? By doing so, the entire salah would be performed within the prescribed time.
Yes, indeed, one should lighten his salah because you have only 2 minutes left to the sunrise, for example. You have 2 rak'ah of salat al-subh, you have to pray inside the time. So try to shorten your salah, pray a bit quickly to make sure that the salah is prayed inside the time and not outside the time.
Inshallah. May Allah bless you, and thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have another question. It says, many Muslims do not know the rulings of tahara or do not make the effort to apply them in the various aspects of their daily lives. Would it be mandatory upon us to avoid their food or render our clothes tahir if we came into wet contact with them?
You see, we have a general and a basis rule which says, you know, everything is tahir, kullu shay laka tahir. Unless you're certain that it's najis and impure.
Yeah.
حتى تعلم إنه نجس بعينه. So if you're not certain, you cannot say this table is najis or this floor is najis. Even the, you know, ulama would mention the bathroom's floor as well. If you haven't seen the najasa, you cannot say this is najis.
Yeah.
They could have, somebody came before you and washed the whole floor, for example, especially in the Muslim countries. Where there's a drain and everything, they would wash between time to time. So you cannot say this is najis because I haven't seen this before. I haven't, you know, washed myself. So I've washed this cup before, so it's najis, for example. No, everything is tahir unless you're certain. So when it comes to others, when you meet friends, family members, you go to their house, you have to consider everything is tahir unless you see the najasa with your own eyes, or they tell you that this, let's say this rug is najis, or this mat is najis, for example, or these utensils are najis, for example, then you have to avoid. Otherwise, everything is tahir. Why should we worry about the issue of the najasa?
May Allah bless Sheikh. Thank you very much. We have another question. Is from WhatsApp, and it says, I have a question. Can we pray as a female Shia with a male Sunni friend?
What do you mean by praying? Is it praying according to their way of salah? No, you can't. You have to pray according to the Shia of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam.
Yeah.
Do you mean you pray in one room, for example? It's like a prayer room. If it's a common prayer room, the door is open, for example, anyone can access. Again, it should be fine. You pray, you know, the brother prays in front and the sister prays behind, each in a separate. And with it, of course, with this distance, they have to observe, according to many of the fatwa, that they have to have some distance, 5-6 meters.
Yeah.
In one room, open room, not a locked room. It should be fine. Yeah, why not?
Inshallah. May Allah bless Sheikh. Thank you very much. We have another question. It is via YouTube, and it says, can I work in the restaurant that sells alcohol?
You see, what is forbidden is to serve the alcohol on the table.
No.
That's forbidden. Serving the pork or alcohol on the table. If you're just washing dishes, that should be fine, for example. Or cooking, that should be fine.
Correct. May Allah bless you, and thank you very much. We have another question via WhatsApp, and it says, if it's the end of your monthly cycle, last day, and you haven't had a chance to shower before morning prayer, can you shower after the morning prayer and still keep your fast?
One should be clean and tahir before the Fajr prayer. That's important.
Yeah. May Allah bless Sheikhna, and thank you very much. We have another question. It says, these days household washing up water ends up mixing with the sewage. Would it be haram to throw food remnants in those water outlets? And if haram, what would be the ruling concerning those remnants sticking to the hand?
You can't really throw away food which are left over, as they say, and nobody was able to eat these remaining foods. You can give them to the animals, the pigeons, birds, for example, if you have. Or sometimes they have, in Europe, for example, special baskets or bins for recycling the food. You can put it there, for example, but throw it in the bin. One should avoid it, or even in the sewage, which is even worse with the najasa. One should avoid it. When we wash our hands, just small stick, remains of the food, that should be fine, because that would be dissolved in anyhow within the drain system, so that would disappear after a while, especially with the soap and other chemicals that would disappear.
Inshallah. May Allah bless you, Sheikhna, and thank you very much. I believe we have a follow-up to that sister praying as a Shia with a Sunni brother. It says, so it is namaz, and they pray in one room at work. So would it still
as I've said, if the room is open, it's a prayer room, which we see it at work, in some restaurants, in airports, for example, in Europe. That should be fine. But as I've said, some ulama would consider the distance is important, that you must have a distance between each of you. That's not, by the way, jama'ah. It's a furada, a solo salah, furada salah. But they have to have some kind of distance between each other. So she prays at the end and he prays at the front, with that distance 5-6 meters, according to some fatwa. As mentioned, I think before, that some say it's makruh if they pray close to each other. Let's say husband and wife, so they stand next to each other, for example, to pray. That's makruh, but some would consider it as mishkal, so you have to have enough distance between each other in the salah.
May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. Dear viewers, before we get back into the questions, I would like to remind you all that you can send in your questions via WhatsApp, or you can just drop them in the comment section below the live on our YouTube channel. And inshallah, we'll be at your service in answering all of your questions, and regardless of any marja you follow. And you can also call us via the number presented to you at the bottom of the screen, also via WhatsApp, or you can scan the barcode presented to you alongside with the number, and inshallah our WhatsApp page will pop up through. You can send in your questions, or also give us a call. We'll be at your service in answering all of your questions, inshallah. Sheikhna, we have another question, and it says, is it permissible to drink non-intoxicant barley drink that is free from alcohol, which is sold in Muslim countries? So I believe like Barbican or the malt drinks.
What is allowed is to drink what is known as the medical barley drink, which has no intoxication or alcohol, free from alcohol. The ones you mentioned now in the markets, one should make sure that there's no issue, because the way they produce these drinks, they would go through some kind of heating, and fermenting the barley, and if it goes beyond that limit, it becomes haram. So one should make sure that he would drink something that he's absolutely sure that there's no issue with it. Otherwise, as a ihtiyat, one should avoid. I mean, I haven't drank even once, this type of drinks, Barbican, even from Muslim countries. I would avoid it, because I have to make sure that it's all been done correctly and accurately. Without finding out how it's made, it's difficult. And if it turns out there's a bit of alcohol inside as a result of fermentation, then that's the trouble, of course.
May Allah bless Sheikhna, and thank you very much. We have another question. It is via WhatsApp, and it says, can I wear clothing with animal skin?
If it's like a skin slaughtered, the animal slaughtered in Muslim countries, let's say Turkey, Iraq, Iran, Pakistan, should be fine. You can wear it as well, there's no issue with it. But if it's slaughtered in China, let's say, or Europe, of course this is najis. This skin, you cannot pray with it, for example. These are other ahkam issues would come when it comes to wearing skin of let's say, animal which was slaughtered not according to Islamic Sharia way. So you have al-ashkar with the salah, najasa could be as well. So one should be careful with these issues.
May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. We have another question via WhatsApp, and it says, there is a woman who is breastfeeding her child, and the child is dependent on the milk is receiving from its mother. Can the mother break her fast since she fears for her child? Is it permissible for her not to fast?
Yes, indeed, if she sees that, if she, let's say, fasts, there's a reduction in her milk, definitely she doesn't need to fast anymore, and she can break the whole month of Ramadan. Of this year, for example, and not fast. And even if she continued next year as well, she can also not fast the next month as well, the next year's Ramadan as well, month Ramadan as well, because of continuous breastfeeding this child.
Correct.
Yes.
May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. We have another question via WhatsApp, and it says, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalam.
Does a person with an outstanding student loan have to pay khums? If so, how do they calculate this?
Basically, the khumus is about paying a surplus or unused or unpaid. Let's say you still have that savings, you still have that money in your accounts or cash in hand or gifts, for example, unused gifts, for example.
Yeah.
Whatever money is left at the end of the year, because you have a day, annual khums day. It could be, I don't know, 1st of Rabi' al-Awwal, 10th of Jamad al-Thani, for example, whatever date you put. By that date, if you have any unused money, surplus, left in your pocket, in your account, in your cupboard, you bought clothes you haven't never used, for example, it's got tags on it, brand new jackets, trousers, for example, you have to pay khums on these items because they are now surplus, they are excess of your wealth, are unused, which you are not really in need of. They are not your ma'una, your needy expenditure in which you need to spend every day, for example. So you have to pay khums on these, and you have to calculate everything you have in your wealth. What you have gained, ma ghanimtum, calculate it and pay 1/5 of that as khumus to the Ahakam SOS.
Inshallah, may Allah bless you, Sheikhna, and thank you very much. We have another question via YouTube, and it says, can I eat candy with gelatin?
You see, if the gelatin is made in the Muslim countries, it's fine, there's no issue with it. Even if it says beef gelatin made in Iraq, Iran, Turkey, that's fine, it's halal. But if this gelatin was made in Europe or China or America, that's a problem.
Yeah.
It's haram, you have to avoid it. You cannot consume it. Of course, there's a debate about, if gelatin has been converted to, chemically into another substance, and not actually the oil or the fat remains in that substance. That's a different issue. If you can definitely reach the conclusion that this gelatin, which is made in the West, has been transformed chemically, istihala. That's another type of mutahhirat, purifiers in Islam. That istihala, it becomes istihala from one substance to another, then of course one can consume. But are you sure? Can you confirm it? Can you be sure about it? That's another issue.
May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. We have another question. It is via YouTube, and it says, I have heard from some maraja that it is not forbidden to take interest from non-Muslims. Is this true?
Yes, current fatwa from the maraja that you can take interest from the non-Muslims. If they pay you can take it, but you have to pay khumus on those money gained through interest. Of course, they have their own dalil and evidence, which one can go back and refer back in the books of the fiqh. They've explained in detail why we are allowed to take the khumus from the interest from the non-Muslim banks, for example, to receive that, because we've got lots of money inside the bank account. They would, of course, give us interest.
Correct. May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. We have another, at your service, inshallah. Brothers and sisters, we'll take a very short break, and inshallah to leave you with the beautiful atmosphere of Karbala, and also to give you the chance to be under the dome of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam and say your du'as, say your ziyarah. Hence the name of Imam Hussein TV, your gateway to Karbala. Have your ziyarah, say your du'as, and may Allah accept, inshallah. And please don't forget us in your du'as. Inshallah, we'll be at your service. You can send in your questions via WhatsApp or the YouTube comments. Send them in, give us a call. I'll be at your service and answering all of your questions, inshallah. So do stay tuned.
I have a question regarding keeping pictures of
Is it
scholars
permissible
at
to
home.
plant trees by or
Was
over
Islam
the graves?
established based on peace and
Is it permissible
non-violence?
to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it permitted to
individuals?
consume canned food imported from non-Muslim
Is there an
countries?
issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, WhatsApp us on +44 7415 092155.
Dear viewers, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome once again to this exclusive season of Ahkam SOS live from the Holy Land of Karbala. And I would like to remind you once again that you can send in your questions via WhatsApp, or you could just drop them in the comment section below our live on our YouTube channel. And inshallah, we'll be at your service in answering all of your questions, regardless of any marja you follow. As well, you can give us a call via WhatsApp via the number presented to you at the bottom of the screen, or you can scan the barcode presented to you alongside with the number, and inshallah our WhatsApp page will pop up through. You can send in your questions, or you can also give us a call and we'll be at your service in answering all of those questions. Sheikh, now we have a few more questions, and it says, I believe this one is also from YouTube, and it says, is it haram to pray Taraweeh?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Taraweeh, according to Umar ibn Khattab himself, in some of the Sahih mentions that he praises Taraweeh to be as bid'ah, ni'matul bid'ah hadih. That's what he says.
Yeah.
He praises that he invented this bid'ah. It wasn't the prophetic sunnah at all. Otherwise we could have prayed.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have enmity na'udhu billah, with salah, with dhikrullah azza wa jal, with the reciting Quran and the salah. Why not? We could have prayed it, but we are pretty sure that, definitely sure that this is a bid'ah in which Umar created, as he said, and praised this bid'ah in the books of Ahl Sunnah. So, and as they narrate Ahl Sunnah, that كل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. So Taraweeh is in hellfire. Whoever prays it is with النار, نعوذ بالله.
Yeah.
So one should not pray it. It's a bid'ah, as they said in the books of Sahih, and this bid'ah is in the hellfire. So one should avoid the hellfire as a result.
Yeah. May Allah bless you, Sheikh, and thank you very much. We have another question via WhatsApp, and it says, sometimes at work, due to workload, especially in a hospital, it's hard to take off your shoes and wear again to complete the wudu steps. Is it okay to miss the foot touch step?
That's not a reason for one to be able to, to wipe his hand over his socks, over their shoes, in a very exceptional situations. Let's say somebody in the North Pole, to avoid frostbite, for example.
Yeah.
These are certain conditions and situations where one can actually, wipe his hands on the socks, let's say, in a very exceptional condition and situations. Now you have to take off your shoes and, well, you have to find another way, an easy way for you to perform the wudu in a better way. Maybe change the type of the shoes that you're wearing. And
yeah, and I believe in most hospitals they wear the Crocs. They're easy to take off and
exactly.
wear. May Allah bless you, Sheikh, and thank you very much. We have another question. It is also via WhatsApp, and it says, how to avoid while praying all thoughts coming in your head, although you try your best not to, and concentrate to your prayer.
We have some etiquettes in Salah. For example, when you stand and you start praying, you look at the muhr, at the turba. For example, when you go to the ruku', you look between your feet on the floor. When you go to the sujood, you would look at the side of your nose. You would lower your eyes and look at the sides of your nose.
Yeah.
And so forth. Concentrate on the dhikr and the verses mentioned and recited in the salah, for example. It's not something 100% one can actually be able to observe, but we try our best.
Yeah, correct.
Concentrate on our salah, because the shaitan would come from 6 positions, from the right side, left side, up, down, front and back. Try to deceive the mu'min and the one who's praying, from just to distract them from the salah and dhikrullah azza wa jal.
Correct. May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. We have another question, and it says, when a surgeon inserts a surgery instrument in the human body where it meets the najasat inside the body, but when withdrawn, there is no evidence of najasa on it, is the instrument considered tahir?
Yes, it is. Let's say the needle is tahir because there's no contamination of blood or other najasa within this needle, let's say, or an instrument. Then it should be fine, tahir. كل شيء لك طاهر حتى تعلم أنه نجس بعينه.
Correct. May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. Before we get back into the questions, dear brothers and sisters, I would like to remind you all that you can send in your questions via WhatsApp or the YouTube comments, or you can give us a call also via WhatsApp or via the numbers presented to you at the bottom of the screen. You can also scan the barcode presented to you alongside with the number, and inshallah we'll be at your service in answering all of your questions, regardless of any marja' you follow. Sheikh, we have another question. It is via WhatsApp, and it says, a privately owned bank invited its customers to deposit money with the bank, say 1,000 dirhams that they can withdraw at any time. After some time, the bank shall give a specific gift to the depositors. Is it permissible to enter into such a deal to get that gift?
Yes, indeed. If they're offering a gift, for example, it should be fine. One can receive that gift.
Yeah.
It's not a gambling game or something, which
Correct,
is haram, of course. It's just a gift from the bank. Why not? Yeah.
May Allah bless Sheikh. Thank you very much. We have another question. It says, if the impurity reaches the running water and changes some of its attributes, such as color or smell, would the water render impure?
You see, that amount in which the color changes or the smell changes, that would of course be najis. That part would be najis, and not the whole running water. So one should avoid that part in which became, let's say, red because of gushing blood in that part of the running water.
May Allah bless Sheikh. Thank you very much. We have another question, and it says, if a young person who is near the age of adolescence says he has made something pure and his word was reassuring, can we take his word?
Yes, if you trust this child, then his word is accepted, and you can, take his word for the purity and the impurities, both.
Yeah.
So if the child says this cup is tahir, I washed it, you can take his word, and you trust the child anyhow. Also, if the child says this cup is najis, then of course you have to avoid it.
Correct. May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. We have another question, and it says, is it permissible to hit the students if the teacher realizes that they do not respond to him, which in turn might adversely affect their performance?
You see, hitting the students is not allowed. One cannot hit the students, and if they do so and they leave red, blue and black on the skin of the child, there is there are certain grams of gold, value of gold they have to pay as a result of for hitting the child and leaving these marks on the body of the child. No, they have to use other ways, and they have to consult the experts to see how can they actually solve the issue and educate the children to listen to their teachers.
May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. We have another question. It says, if a couple conspire to separate legally, divorce according to European law, and as such each live separately in their own residence but continue to live together on the pretext that they have not agreed to divorce according to Sharia law, is a divorce also valid from the Sharia viewpoint?
This is not a divorce. The divorce should be carried out in a Sharia method and way. So they have to go to somebody who knows the ahkam of the divorce. So they would have two witnesses, shahidain adilain, just witnesses with them, and other conditions of divorce. You can't just go to the local court and just ask for some paperwork and sign, and that's your no, you can't. You have to do it Sharia way first, and then you can apply for the legal way that we are now separate, and then you are officially separated and you're divorced now as a result of the Sharia and the legal methods. Otherwise, if one wants to say to the government that we are divorced but they live together secretly and not divorced in the Sharia way, of course that's not also allowed according to Ayatollah Sistani. As I've mentioned, you have to respect the law of the country you live in. You can't distort the image of Islam. You can't make these fraud transactions, in other words.
Correct.
So you have to follow and abide by the rules of the land you live in.
Inshallah, may Allah bless Sheikh. Thank you very much. I believe we have a phone call, the first phone call for the night. We say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and Shahr Ramadan Mubarak.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers. Ramadan Mubarak.
May Allah bless you, brother. Shahr Ramadan Mubarak to you and your blessed family. May Allah accept your deeds.
How are you, brother?
I'm doing great. May Allah bless you, inshallah. How about yourself?
Thank you very much, Sheikh, for the great show.
At your service. May Allah bless you, inshallah.
Can I ask a quick question?
At your service. May Allah bless you.
I work in North London, but I go to work quite often at Luton Airport. And I want to see, because I travel back and forth a lot, there's my fast still accepted?
At your service, may Allah bless you, inshallah.
This is for Ayatollah Sistani.
Okay, may Allah bless you, inshallah. We'll have your question answered shortly.
Thank you, brothers. Have a good night.
To you as well.
Answer. Goodbye.
To you as well.
Goodbye.
May Allah bless
you. Love you. Bye.
Take care. Take care. May Allah bless you, inshallah. Thank you very much.
Ahsantum.
Yes,
barakallah fik. Yes, basically, if your workplace is in Luton, and between Luton and London there's a Sharia distance, we have some brothers who would go and break their or open their fast in Luton when it comes to Eid, Yom Shak, they would go and open their fast. So there's a specific area they would stand there and they would open their fast just to avoid fasting on the day of Eid as a result.
Yeah.
So yes, it's a distance in which if one works there, they have to pray complete and fast as well, full. So if they, let's say, if the brother travels at least, let's say, 10, 12 days a month, then he's kathir al-safar, frequent traveler. In this case, he must complete his fast and salah as well. So he's not a musafir at all.
Okay.
He's traveling 3 days a week, at least for work. And that should suffice for being a kathir al-safar, a frequent traveler. So he needs to complete his salah and to fast as well.
Inshallah.
In that location.
May Allah bless Sheikh, and thank you very much. We have another question. It says, in Western countries there are no Islamic Sharia courts. Can a Muslim woman raise her case with the local law courts to seek divorce?
You see, even if you raise your issue or the divorce issue to local courts, that's not going to allow for the divorce to take place, shar'an.
Yeah.
As I've said before, you have to go to the AHKAM SOS or his representative or somebody who knows the ahkam of divorce Islamically and divorce in a Shari'i way. Then you can go back to the courts and apply for, you know, that we were separate now, paperwork, everything, that now you're separate, so it would be, you know, everything formally done, that you're now separated legally, and of course, Shari'i-wise, you're also separated and divorced.
May Allah bless Shaykhna, thank you very much. We have another question, and it's via WhatsApp, and it says, Assalamu alaikum. Is playing cards allowed with having a bet, having a bet, for example, sequence game?
If these types of games are originally gambling games, it's not allowed, you know, haram, even you play it without money. You know, this card, you know, the heart and the king, these are originally gambling games. You cannot play them even without betting, without paying money. You have to avoid it totally. Other cards, if it's just the normal cards, you know, should be fine. You know, normal games, some games with cards, should be fine.
Yeah.
But if it's a game which is known as for gambling, made for gambling originally, then you have to avoid it. In both cases, money or without money, betting or without betting.
Correct.
They're both haram.
May Allah bless you. Shaykhna, if a certain game involves cards, you know, like the hearts and the kings, but that certain game isn't meant for gambling, it's just meant to have fun, is it still haram or is it not?
You have to see, you know, how much of that game is shared with the gambling original game. You know, it's a bit difficult to define it. You know, it's not easy. But what is important that the game you play is not a gambling game originally.
Yeah. Like
chess, you might come up with a new game, but it looks like a chess, but it's not a chess. Again, is the subject, because the ulama would work with the subjects in a mawdu'. Is the subject of this game, is it chess or heart and king, and so forth? Is it the card games or is it something else?
Yeah.
So you have to define. If this game is actually represent that game, of course that becomes haram to play with.
Okay. May Allah bless Shaykhna. Thank you very much. We have another question via WhatsApp, and it says, gum doesn't go down your throat, so can we have it during fasting?
The gum doesn't go through the throat. I mean, I've said before in the beginning of the month that what is important that no particles or bits of that gum goes through your throat. Also, no flavors like banana or strawberry flavors would also go. There are some, I think, natural gums mentioned. I think they could luban.
Yeah.
Yeah, has no taste at all. No sugar, nothing, no flavors. If you can control it, well, you can do so, but you know, the safe side is not to use the chewing gum during the day. Try to avoid it.
Inshallah. May Allah bless Shaykhna. And thank you very much. We have another question, it is via WhatsApp, and it says, thank you so much, iltimas dua to you as well, dear viewer. May Allah bless you and accept your prayers, inshallah. And it says, please give my salam to Imam Hussein alayhi salam and Hadrat Abbas, and call the Shuhud Karbala. Please remember my family and me in your prayers. May Allah bless you, inshallah, your viewer. We won't forget you in your prayers, and you as well. Do not forget you in your prayers, inshallah. And may Allah bless you and accept your prayers. And we have another question. It is via WhatsApp, and it says, if a person acquires wealth without having worked for it, for example, like if someone gives him a gift and that wealth exceeds his own annual expenses, does he have to pay khums for the excess?
Again, as I said before, that anything left over by the end of the year, you haven't used, and you haven't paid previously khums on last year, is due to pay. You have to pay khums on this unused, unspent money, unused item, for example. As he says, for example, the gift, they haven't used it. Now today is the khums day, annual day of the khums. They have to basically pay khums, the value of this item or the sum of that money.
May Allah bless Shaykhna, thank you very much. We have another question, is via YouTube, and it says, Assalamu alaikum Shaykhna. If I have a gaming system and I don't use it anymore because it's a waste of time, is it allowed to sell it because I don't want it, because I don't want anyone else to waste their time in vain pleasure?
You can't sell that game, you don't want it should be fine. Let's say he's got Xbox, for example. You can sell it. It's your, you own this product, you bought it, and you are allowed to sell it to gain money out of this product. It should be fine. But of course, it's good to give advice to the buyer, for example, if he's a Muslim or even non-Muslim, that try not to waste your time.
Correct.
When you play. To give advice, but it's your right to buy and sell. It's your product. You bought. You own it. It's yours.
Yeah. May Allah bless Shaykh, and thank you very much. And I believe this is the last question of tonight, and it says, it is from WhatsApp, and it says, why do Shi'as do matam and cut themselves if self-harm is haram?
Ulama divide the harm into two categories. You have the type of harm or self-harm which causes loss of limbs or organs, of somebody blinds himself, for example. These are not allowed, haram. You cannot cut your hand, or disable an organ as a result. But other types of harm, which you could call it harm, but it's not that extremely harm, because you see, when it comes to donating blood, for example, you would sometimes donate 1 or 2 pints of blood. That's harm as well. But ulama do not consider this harm a severe harm, like loss of limb, disabling an organ.
Correct,
That's something in which you would donate the blood for the good cause of humanity. There is a loss of blood. There's a loss of, part of your body, liquid. At the end of the day, it's your blood, but you donate it to those who are in need of it. I was hearing somewhere around the Haram that asking people to come donate blood in this holy month, which is a good initiative. So that's a minor harm for the good cause. The same applies to the butcher who cuts the bones and the meat, and sometimes they get injured. So that kind of harm, uqala'iyyan, logically, it's accepted. So when it comes to the Shi'ar Hussein alayhi salam, same thing. We have narrations that let them, beat their or scratch their faces. We have these hadith. فَتُلْطَمُ الْخُدُودِ, for example, or تُخْدَشُ الْخُدُودِ. We have these kind of statements mentioned. So these are minor harm for the good cause. We have in Surah, I think Surah Yusuf alayhi salam, when Yaqub alayhi salam cried over his son Yusuf alayhi salam for 40 years, his eyes became white as a result of crying.
Correct.
If this was he was a prophet, of course, of Allah Azza wa Jal, but Allah did not some kind of I think if you read the ayah, it would be in a meaning of praising Yaqub alayhi salam for being so much patient and sad about his son. So, and the Nabi is ma'soom. He wouldn't do a sin or haram by allowing his eyes to be white as a result of crying on Yusuf alayhi salam. So for reasonable cause, yes, you can do so, especially if you have hadith, you have fatwa from ulama with this regard. Should be no issue with it. As I've said, the haram is to disable or to cut limbs or hands or to blind yourself, na'udhu billah, as a result. That's the haram and forbidden.
May Allah bless Sheikh. Thank you very much. Dear viewers, we have come to the end of tonight's show. We'll be at your service every night at 12 a.m. London time. And inshallah, you can send your questions via WhatsApp or the YouTube comments, or you can give us a call via WhatsApp via the number presented to you at the bottom of the screen, or you can scan the barcode presented to you alongside with the number. Inshallah, our WhatsApp page will pop up, so you can send your questions or also give us a call. And inshallah, we'll be at your service and answering all of your questions, regardless of any marja' you follow. But for the time being, we leave you with the beautiful atmosphere of Karbala, and we say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
It's Ramadan.
What's the problem?
We've got a caller on the line.
What's the caller profile?
Yasser Mansour from London, Edgware. He has a question in regards to eating food while fasting.
Do we have other questions?
We've got a couple on WhatsApp and YouTube.
Let's send him to studio to get his question answered live.
Done.
Ali hai Ali, Ali hai Ali, Ali hai Ali, Ali hai Ali. आज कूफे में है कोहराम, अली हाय अली. आज कूफे में है कोहराम, अली हाय अली. आज कूफे में है कोहराम, अली हाय अली. है पलक